Welcome to Parents FYI. I'm Jenny Brazington. On today's show, we're continuing the discussion on parental involvement in education. And joining me today to talk about this are Sherry Wilson, Alabama State Pirc Director, Terry Dawson, Wyoming State Pirc Director, and Ron Meir, former Director of the Iowa Pirc. Thank you guys for joining me here today.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so glad you were in town. This is going to be a great discussion. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about what you're doing in your state for parental involvement?
Our state is focusing heavily on parent leadership, and we have the Academy for Parent Leadership and Engagement in Alabama. We started last year in Montgomery with our first class, and this year we're doing a class in Montgomery as well as a class in Mobile. And our leadership teams come from low-performing schools, and each team from the school has parents and teachers, and they do a project that involves other parents and focuses on core areas like reading and math.
Great, so you're building those parent leaders and sending them back out.
Right.
That's wonderful. Okay.
And in Wyoming, we work with parent leaders as well. One of the things that we do to increase leadership and skills for parents is we work with them in local parent-teacher groups and provide some input and for activities to increase the activities. And the activities that they're providing within the group, they focus on content standards and learning what the curriculum is and increasing parental involvement according to learning at home, not just at school. And we also, another thing that we do in Wyoming is we're providing technical assistance to schools to help them be more parent-friendly, to help with their whatever they're sending home, to help with their communication, and support them in supporting families.
That's great, because I know when Terry Strahan was here on the last show, she talked a lot about professional development and the need for that. So it's great. We're going to get into after Ron talks a minute about what's going on in Iowa, about really what the perks are. And so why don't you just tell us a little about what's going on in Iowa?
If you think about what they do in Alabama, we're probably 180 degrees opposite of that. We don't go from the parents up. We've taken an approach where we work with school districts and administrators to build parent engagement. We've adopted the model that Karen Mapp and Ann Henderson and some others have put together. And in that, it's based on this assumption that schools need to go first. Schools have the power, the principals have the power. We believe if something is going to happen in a building, the principal has to allow that. So instead of starting with the parents and saying, here are some advocacy skills, you go make your way in the school, we say to the administrators and the teachers, you need to understand the benefits of parent involvement, how it can help with achievement, and it's your role to go first. So we really concentrate on helping them understand what they can do to engage the parents in ways that support achievement.
Sounds like you guys are doing some wonderful things in your states. Tell us a little bit about PIRC, what it stands for, and how long it's been around, and just a little background.
I was going to say PIRC's Parent Information and Resource Centers. The fabulous thing about being part of a PIRC is we're part of a network because they have PIRCs in every state, and some of the big states have more than one. And although in Alabama we're starting at a different place, I can talk to people like Ron in Iowa and find out what they're doing there, and that's helped me bring in other strategies. So now we can start to focus on working with people from the school instead of just the parents. So being part of that network is invaluable.
Funding, where does the funding come from for these PIRCs, Terry?
The U.S. Department of Education under Office of Innovation and Improvement, Parental Choice and Options, funds competitive grants to every state, parent-driven nonprofit organizations, and it's competitive grant funded, and so we win an award on this grant, and then each state has one of those, or like she said, two. And it's under Title I, so it's under the No Child Left Behind Act is where the funding comes from, and all the states have one. We all have a similar criteria that we have to meet and have similar activities, but yet we tailor those to meet our state's needs and the families that live there.
PIRC has been around since 1995, and just like the whole field of parent engagement, PIRCs are developing what the focus is and what we do. And back in 1995 when we started, I've been lucky to be part of this since the very beginning, no one really knew what we were supposed to do. And we've spent the last 12 years really trying to hone in on what what works, what should we do, what should we be promoting, and each year I think we get better and better. We get a more and more of a focus.
Well, and although you're all are doing some different things, your focus is still the same. So how you're going about it, am I right?
Right, our focus is primarily not just on getting parents involved, but on raising student achievement through parent involvement. That's where our focus is, because we see parent involvement as the strategy and not just an outcome.